You know, as Yom HaZikaron was approaching this year, I began to remember, like many of us, and I began to feel that sadness. As I'm listening to the stories here tonight, the testimonies of loved ones, I feel grief and I feel pain, I'm sure like all of you. And I even feel anger. I feel anger because I think about Mikey. Mikey, my friend Mikey, he'd be 33 now. He probably would have gotten married, stood there as his kala walked around him 7 times. He may have had a kid or two children, a little boy and a little girl who he could take their first steps with them and listen to their first words. And he got none of that. And Sean Carmeli, Nissim Carmeli, Max Steinberg, Shlomo Rindenau, Alex Singer, the list goes on and on. What about them? What about all the firsts they never got to experience? All the joy they never got to have? Every year I feel the same grief and the same sadness and the same anger. But now as I'm looking at it, it doesn't feel right. I don't feel like I'm doing them justice by having all of these dark emotions. Because, yes, this is the time to open up the floodgates. This is the time to let the tears flow. This is the time to remember. But at the same time, if they were here with us, right here on this bima, if they were with us, looking at us, which I believe they are, would they want us to be grieving and filled with pain and sadness? I don't think so. You know, in this period of time we're in right now, we read about Aaron's 2 sons, Nadav and Avihu, who were zealously fulfilling their mission of consecrating the tabernacle, and they died. And this was a huge tragedy for Aaron, for his sons, for their whole family. And he was devastated, as you can imagine, and Moses tries to comfort him. He says, they were holier than we are. And even God seems to confirm this himself. He says, Bekrovai ekadesh. With those closest to me, I'll be sanctified. Now, while that's true in its simplest form, the Rashbam shares such a beautiful and profound idea. He says that when God said, Bekrovai ekadesh, those closest to me, I'll be sanctified, he was actually talking about Elazar and Itamar and Aaron, the brothers, the father of Nadav and Avihu who passed away, who went on with their mission, who burst forth, who continued to sanctify and dedicate the tabernacle, not despite their tragedy, but fueled by it, but inspired by it. That's what I believe Mikey would want. He would want us to feel inspired, to feel uplifted. Because in the end of the day, what are we? What are we? Our body is dirt. Our name is just a label. At the deepest core, when you whittle it all away, we're our ratzon. We're our will, our desire, our passion. That is who we are. And this long list of lone soldiers, one thing that brings them all together is exactly that. Passion, desire, love. They all have their stories. You know the legendary story that Elisa shared about Mikey? That he scaled the walls of Lishkat HaGiyus and broke in and convinced the commander to take him, or that he wasn't even heavy enough to be in the paratroopers. I tried to get into their paratroopers. It was a tough gibush. I didn't get in. Mikey got in, but he was too light. They weren't going to be able to, he wasn't going to be able to parachute. The winds would just take him away. So he said, not a big deal. We'll just weigh me down with some sandbags. There was nothing that could dissuade him. As you heard, since he's a little boy, this was his passion. And Nissim Carmeli, who broke his foot, and his commander said, you don't need to go and join the war. You broke your foot. You don't need to fight. He wouldn't hear of it. And Max Steinberg, who fought his way out of being working at the desk, you know, as a jobnik, and fought and fought and fought to be able to be a sharpshooter in Golani. The stories go on and on, but one thing that ties it all together is self-sacrifice, dedication, love, passion. You know, when you visit the home of mourners, There's a special passage you're supposed to say to them or say to share with us that on some deep level really consoles them. The saying is, Hamakom yinachem etchem betoch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May Hashem, God, console you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. But it's interesting, the word that's used for God in this verse is so unique. It's used almost nowhere else. Hamakom. It means the place. And the subconscious message of that is that within this world we're in, the physical, the spiritual world, while we may not be able to see and feel our beloved brothers and sisters who have fallen, they're still here with us. They're still alive in just a different sort of way. They're bound up among the nation of Israel. Their light has burst forth to the world. I want to bless us that as we go into this Yom HaZikaron, when we remember our beloved ones, our fallen ones, we not only remember them, but we sanctify them. We open our hearts and we embrace the inspiration and the love that was their lives, and we bring it into us and allow it to propel us forward, to joyfully plant roots in this land that they loved so much, to build families here, families that they're a part of, that they live in our hearts. May their memories live within all of us. And to Mikey and Sean and Max and Shlomo and Alex and all of the lone soldiers who are here today, we love you. We miss you. And every step we take moving forward, you're alive within us. Thank you.